This week is Photography Week and we're going to look at picturesque views and scenes from Kidderminster and Wyre Forest. We're going to be speaking to a photographer and we want you to send in your photographs.
Hi, I'm Grace and I'm a film and photography student. So this week is Photography Week and I'm going to show you some tips and tricks which I've picked up along the way, which I think could help you with your photos. In fact, I actually have created and edited all of the videos that you might have seen in the Summer Arts Project series. Here is Photography Week. So if you take photos on a DSLR camera, which looks a little bit like this, then there are three important things you need to consider when taking a photo. So the first is shutter speed. So shutter speed changes the brightness of a photo and it also can freeze or blur the photo. So if you have a longer shutter speed, it can cause motion blur, which is better for perhaps slower moving objects or objects which are still. But there's also fast shutter speed, which is good for freezing the motion in the picture. So if you're maybe taking a photo of a racing car or a dog running towards you, then it's always good to have a faster shutter speed. The next thing you need to consider is aperture. So aperture also changes the brightness of the photo as well as shutter speed, and it also can create a blurry background or a sharper background. So this is also known as f-stop. So if you have a larger aperture, which is a smaller number, the large aperture can also mean a brighter photo, but also means a more blurry background, which you might have seen in photos before, and the foreground a little bit more clearer. But a small aperture, which is a larger number, can mean a darker photo or a more sharp foreground and background. So it's not blurry and it's not as much of a shallow depth of field. The final thing you need to consider is ISO. So once again, ISO contributes to the brightness or the darkness of the photo. A lower ISO, so for example ISO 100, means you'll have a dark photo, but if you have something like ISO 6400, then it will mean a brighter photo. But you need to really be careful with ISO, because even if you're taking a video as well, or a photo, if you have quite a high ISO, it can make your photos look quite grainy and quite low quality. So just make sure you are really careful when using ISO. But if you're unsure of any of these settings, it's always just better and safer really to stay on automatic mode if you're not really familiar with it. And if you don't have a DSLR camera, you can just use an iPhone, which is just as good, and we'll get on to the iPhone bit right now. It depends on what you're using the camera for and what you're taking photos for. If it's just for like home photos, or you've just gone out for the day and taken photos, then they're absolutely brilliant. And if you just want to make like home movies, then iMovie is great for editing on. And you might even have a MacBook which has iMovie on it as well, or an iPhone has iMovie on it. But if you're looking to do photography or film a bit more seriously, then I would definitely recommend investing in a DSLR camera, as you just really can't beat the quality, especially for filming as well. You'll definitely notice the difference between an iPhone quality and a camera quality. And as I said before, with the shallow depth of field, which is when you have a blurry background and a sharper foreground, you can really notice the difference between a DSLR camera and portrait mode on an iPhone. So here's a couple more shots to give you a bit of inspiration for Photography Week, because we'd love you to send in your photos that you've taken around the Wyre Forest area. Make sure you send them into our website, and I'll also leave my Instagram page where you can check out some of my work.